Tammy.
Jack, good to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah, you were gone last week. I didn't understand what that was all about. It's because I missed the week before.
Yeah, I was gone for 2 weeks because I took two of my kids to Taiwan.
Ah, oh, good for you.
Yeah, it turns out both parents were turning 93,
Ah,
and I couldn't make either one, so we picked a week that was between them so that we didn't play favorites. And so Ronnie and Nick were able to wish my parents happy 93rd birthday. And it was a pretty intense, 3 days with them, and it was really good. We did about as much as we could in 3 days, and so yeah, that was a good trip. And then last weekend was my return, so this weekend we resume.
so I thought I met your father.
Let's see, was
He
that
was,
here at my place?
yeah, he was downstairs. He'd
Yes, that's
taken
right.
up.
That's right. He was here trying to see whether he could live with me in his last few years, but he decided that this situation wasn't for him. And actually, both of them are much happier in Taiwan.
Well, that's
So
good.
that worked out. Yeah. But at least he tried, at least I tried to, help my parents out, and they
Yep,
just wanted something else.
yep.
hmm they moved there in 2023. And the
Oh,
first place they were in was, God, it was just like a hospital. I visited them and I thought, no, you got to get out of here. It was just two gurneys, a bathroom, no bathtub even, just a bathroom. And it was just like it felt like it smelled like it looked like a hospital. And I said, no, 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 you got to get out of here. So yeah, they finally agreed after a few months and found a place that looks much more like an apartment building, if not an actual hotel.
uh,
And there is medical staff nearby, but it's not quite as sterile and lifeless. They actually
yeah.
have something that looks like a real apartment, and they can come and go as they please. The first place, they couldn't come and go. Somebody actually had to check them out and check them back in. It was really restrictive.
That's bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't want the first place didn't want the old people to be so forgetful they wander out and don't know how to come back.
That's always an
So
issue.
yes, yes. But the second place was much more reasonable about it. And my two kids, I don't know if you've ever been to Taiwan, Jack. Have you?
I have not.
Yeah, it's not unique to Taiwan, but the night market culture is awesome, and my kids enjoyed every single night we went to a night market. And you could try foods. I mean, just the density of options, the density of people, um, options for food and entertainment. It's really wide, and there's there's no trash anywhere. People are friendly, they're polite. There's no yelling. It's all very civilized, and the food tastes good.
Have you seen the YouTube about the dead whale that a professor was carrying on the back of a truck through town?
No, I have not seen that one.
It's truly sad but truly humorous. Apparently, some some um, some freighter boat ship rammed a whale,
Ooh,
and it was a large one, and uh, it floated up on near a dock in Taiwan, and so some professor across the island, the other side of the island, said, "I want it. I want to study it." So they hoisted it up on the back of a truck, big flatbed truck, and they're driving right down through the middle of Main Street, whatever that is. And can you guess what happened?
It fell off the truck, right?
No,
No? It's
the
stuck
gas,
up the city, right?
no, the gas in its gut grew to such proportion
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
it literally went off like a bomb.
And this professor didn't even account for that? What kind of a professor was he?
Yeah,
You
you would think that they would at least open it up to relieve the pressure, but no, they I don't know the story, but it's rather humorous because the video shows raw meat flying everywhere.
I mean, it's probably bad to laugh at that, but
Well, so just go to YouTube and say dead whale Taiwan and see what you find.
yeah. Kayla, have you ever seen that video?
No, I have not.
Yeah, I was just talking to Jack about how I was off the last couple of weekends, and I guess word hadn't reached Jack that I was off because I was in Taiwan, so I was explaining that. So Jack, how you been?
Oh, not at all that bad. You know, I admire your parents at 93 up and mobile. With me at 80, mobility is starting to become an issue.
And it's not just that whole canister that you have to carry around with you, right?
No, no, no. It's I did the so there's two kinds of old people falling. One is mindful lack of mindfulness. They literally aren't watching where they're going and they trip on something. And the other one is their gyroscopes let go. And
There what?
they're well,
Balance.
it's their balance, their gyroscopes.
Oh,
That's an airplane metaphor. Um, Kayla, didn't you ever have one of those gyroscopes as in grammar school?
I'm sorry. There's like background noise that's preventing me from hearing you
Jack, your
completely.
voice is faint. So are you far
My
away from your
voice,
microphone?
my voice is faint. Are you kidding?
Okay, it's
There's
better
like
now.
background noise.
No, there's no noise here.
Sorry, it could be I'm trying to make coffee. Is it from me?
Oh, okay, that might be it. If there's like
Yeah, sorry about
hissing
that.
and
Yeah,
steam
that was
and
my
stuff
coffee
like that.
machine. Sorry, my apologies.
Oh, okay, okay. So, can you sorry, ask that question again?
So a lot of kids in grammar school get a gyroscope. It's a little metal thing with a spinning wheel in the middle, and you wrap a string around it, and you pull it, and it spins like mad, and you
Oh
stand.
yeah, yeah,
You've seen them,
A heavy
yes,
top.
yes.
and so that's the metaphor. And gyroscopes are used in airplanes to kind of try to remember what horizontal is, because when the airplane is tilting and you're in a cloud, you can't tell it's tilting, but the gyroscopes will remind you that it's tilting.
Ah, okay.
And they're used in autopilots and all sorts of things. Um, and so I just use that metaphor for when you fundamentally lose your balance, because your balance system is and so there's ways to make your balance system go weak, and one of them is dehydration.
Hmm.
There's plenty of others, but um, so a lack the mindfulness issue for me was that. Normally, when I get up out of my zero G chair, I start with my feet flat on the floor and then stand up. And one time I did not do that with my right foot, and my slipper just held onto the carpet, and it fundamentally, as I went to stand up, it threw me down on my knees. And you can imagine what that did to my foot. It hurt like hell. Then
Right.
and I let it go for a week. It because it was getting better because I didn't think I broke anything. But the day before yesterday, I went into uh, to the urgent care facility at Kaiser, and and said, I don't, I think my foot is getting better, and pulled my sock off, and she could see all of the bruising, and she says, okay, we're going to do X-rays. And they did X-rays. And then the nurse practitioner walks in and says, I don't see any breakage. So it looks like your foot's going to get much better. It's just the fact that you keep using it that makes it slower. And that was around 9 in the morning. And at 8 o'clock that evening, she called me and she says, I was looking at your X-rays and I found a minor fracture.
Mm.
Mm.
So I went in the next morning and they put a boot on my foot.
Yeah.
Big, ugly black plastic boot with Velcro straps.
But you wanted a pink one, right?
No, no, I thought the ones I'd always seen before were blue, but this one is black. And I don't care. It's just it's just amusing. But I get to take it off when I'm sleeping or driving or taking a shower, so it's not that bad.
What foot is it, right or left?
Right.
Mm.
So why did you ask if it's right or left? That's an interesting question.
Just my follow-up question to that would be, do um you use one foot to drive, correct?
Yeah, it is the right foot. It's the driving foot. Sometimes I left foot brake and sometimes I right foot brake. It just depends on my mood. But this boot is too big to get down between the gas pedal and the brake pedal. So it's fortunately I can take it off.
Mm, got it.
How has that affected what you've been thinking about?
It hasn't.
Okay, then I think it's minor.
Mm.
Oh, it's not a big deal in the ocean, but when you're a kid, these things happen and you just bounce back and you keep going and you don't think about them. But when you're uh, an antique, you start to realize this is a sign. It's a sign, and if these things keep happening, eventually, I grew up with stories of the neighbor old lady that was bedridden, and her her I don't remember. Well, I don't know what you call it. The guy that would come and get her out of bed and and move her around the house. He dropped her and broke her hip.
You.
Yes,
And
that's
a broken hip,
malpractice.
yeah, a broken hip on an old person is a death sentence.
Yeah.
I was talking about how my parents are 93 this year. I was surprised. My dad, either 10 or 15 years ago, I think this is, I don't know, possibly Hawaii. They were living in Hawaii at the time. My dad slipped. It's one of those physical accidents. And he broke his hip.
Oh,
So I thought, geez, what a bad sign. This is not good. It was late 70s, possibly even 80 by the time. Um, they had to put in, these pins and let it heal. And now he's 93. I
yeah.
thought that
So
would actually do it.
see that the point is today they put in pins. When I was a kid, there was no such thing.
Ah,
They would put a big cast around your hip, and that was it. And then you'd get these infections and blah blah blah. But no, the modern medicine is look. When I was a kid, people were dying of leukemia. I had leukemia and I didn't die. Things have really come a long way since caveman.
well, we're headed back towards caveman days.
Well,
Sorry, I
that's
shouldn't have said that.
we have an orange baboon running the country, and I it's I grew up in a town uh, in Burbank where we had to salute the flag and do all this stuff. And so it was a very patriotic town. Now, my kids went to grammar school in Northern California and they didn't salute the flag. They didn't play those games. Um, and so we were very patriotic. Um, I uh, Nobody in those days in my childhood could imagine a president going after his opponents with the legal system.
Or the citizens.
It's just not, it was not in our vocabulary.
There was a minimum threshold of integrity and ethics that we have completely seen become obliterated.
You know who I hold responsible for some of this? Mitch McConnell.
Yep, he's one of them.
And I actually think he's starting to regret it.
Too late.
A little late, yes.
You know, Kayla and I were talking about some of this yesterday, and I actually think that the most brilliant politician in my lifetime, because he swindled us in two significant, super major ways, was Ronald Reagan.
Yep, I give him a lot of credit. He was damn good at what he did.
And the two, just to be complete, were the so-called war on drugs,
Yes.
which is a war on black people by white people,
Yep.
and allowed the privatization of prisons to become profitable.
Yep, there's been a number of bad things.
And then the other, which people mostly know about, is trickle down. And that lasted for decades. Who bought that bullshit?
Yep.
Yeah, that was brilliant. I don't know of any other Democrat that's ever been as brilliant on anything, positive or negative. Now, I would have credited Bernie with being brilliant, but he got shafted. Anyway, we don't have to talk about politics if that's been overdone. Have you seen Pete lately?
We went to the zoo.
That was weeks ago, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, Kayla, dangerous question. Are you going back to Disney?
Well, that I wouldn't call it a dangerous question. It's currently a fun question.
Hmm.
Um, well, Max wants to, but we're being mindful of my budget.
I guess the point I was making was the Disney ABC cancellation of Kibble.
Well, well,
And reportedly, through whatever cancellations they got, like in the last couple of days, they're down like $4 billion, so something like that. That's probably mice nuts to them, but still, it's a move by the people who can vote with their money.
good.
And Disneyland has gone way up in price.
I canceled my Disney Plus subscription because we don't really watch it enough. And so it's perfect timing. I'm like, oh, okay, well,
Yeah.
the only thing that I want to watch on there is this documentary called Echo, and it's about this rock that a family, like somebody found, and their family started getting visions. Then they started predicting things, and they had predicted Hurricane Katrina, and anyhow, or the death of thousands of people in Hurricane Katrina. And the actual rock sits in a museum today. So that's the only one I want to watch currently. But
In 1955, my father came home from work one morning, which surprised all of us kids. We were latchkey kids. And he said, "We're going for a drive." And we piled in the family Ford and drove down into Anaheim. And I began to think, wait a minute, Disneyland just opened. And sure enough, as we came around a bend in the freeway, there was Disneyland. And he made the right turn and we went in and parked and he bought us all tickets. And tickets, if I recall right, were $7.50. And that gave you a pack, one e-ticket and a whole bunch of D tickets, and then a whole shitload of A and B and C tickets. And of course, nobody wanted those, but the e-tickets was the one you wanted. So if you wanted to go on an e-ticket ride, then when you went up, you'd have to pay something like $3 or something like that to get on the e-ticket ride.
the first time I went to Disneyland with my family, my uncle and his family joined us, and so there was one, two, three adults and like three adults and four children. And anyhow, my we'll never forget this. We will never forget this because we were so excited to go to Disneyland, and uh, unbeknownst to us, because it was probably so normal, right? That my uncle and my dad brought like a whole bunch of food from home. They they both carried this cooler full of food all the way up to the front gate, right? But I was a kid and nobody gave a shit. We were just like, oh, yeah, that's just what the parents do, right? And this was way before they allowed, to people to bring their own food. I just remember the person at the front gate seeing like these grown men, holding a big ass cooler on one each side. They were like, "I'm sorry, we don't allow outside food." And my uncle and my dad were just like, "Well, you guys better eat as much as you can right now." They just put the cooler in the
Oh,
car.
shit.
And so we stood there at the front gate eating chicken over a lead.
That's got to be a good photo.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And then we finally went into Disneyland, and the only thing I could remember about Disneyland at the time was, we had fun, but gosh, the waits. I think that's why now I get like the fast pass and I'll upgrade. We're going to Halloween Horror Nights and we upgraded with the express pass. I think it's because like those miserable days of Disneyland when you're just like standing in line as a kid and you're like, why do we have to stand here for an hour? You know? Or like standing in line for the parade. Even the parade back then was just packed.
Yeah,
And
it just clogged everything.
yeah, yeah. So there was a comedian, Jim Gaffigan, who made fun of Disney, and he said something like, "Why would you stand like standing in line is like standing in line for the DMV under the hot sun." And he's like, "Why would you do that? Why would you?" Why would you give away your kids' college tuition to go to Disneyland?
That's the point. And the fast pass tickets are not cheap either.
They're $20 a person. So
That's on top of the regular price.
yeah, yeah. So it does get really expensive.
What was the entrance fee when you went in?
I don't remember back in the day, but these days it ranges. One park per day could range between I think $90 to 100 something, maybe even 150. But if you do a park hopper, it's close to $200 a day.
Yeah.
So you can easily, like between two people, spend $500 for just
Yep.
one park plus an express ticket.
We went to Disney World in Orlando, I don't know, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, something like that. And we got in at at a something like a 20% discount because we were in a Hilton resort and they had a discount coupon. So we took that. And in Orlando, you go onto the Disney property through one big gate and you park and you go to one other place where you depending upon your destination, there's a monorail line that you choose. And one of them will go to Disney World, one of them goes to Epcot, and I don't remember where the other one goes. And so you get on the monorail that you choose, but that monorail takes you through the wholeness of the Disney resorts. So you're exposed to everything before you get to your wherever your destination is. And the lines at Disney World were not that bad.
Yeah, that's what I hear. I hear Disney World lines aren't very bad.
No.
And can I tell you what I do to have a good time at Disney? I think Sam has heard most of it. This is ridiculous. I mean, I wouldn't do what I do, because it really is ridiculous. But when I go to Disneyland, I go for at least 3 days, 3 or 4 days, and I stay at the Grand Californian Hotel. And if you've been there recently, the Grand Californian Hotel is the most luxurious hotel, and it's the closest one to the Disney proximities. So there's their own entrance to California Adventure, and then it's really just stone steps away from Disneyland itself. In fact, when Max and I would go a couple of years ago, we were often the first at the gate. There's pictures of us like right at the front gate in line. I mean, that's how close it is. I also have a strategy. Okay, first off, I pay the ridiculous price to go to club level. It includes food, it includes free booze, it includes the fireworks, like of the private balcony for fireworks. And then that private balcony at that time during the fireworks, it has like some, dessert there for you, and you can, drink some more wine and have some wonderful desserts. And then what they do is they stream in the music, and you can see the fireworks without having to be among the throng of people, waiting for the fireworks. So we get that perk too. But the best perk about it is you get access to Disneyland and California Adventure 30 minutes early before the general public. And so I have a video of that too. I mean, it's terrible, but it's just like a video of me, like um, taking a video of all the people standing and waiting, for them to like really open the line so they can get onto the rides too. And so we have this like total strategy. So what we do is we wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and we go in line just to get to security. Security opens up at 7. We run to the gate. We're at the gate like within minutes. And we stay in that line until 7:30. 7:30, they open up the gates. They let us in, and then no, I'm sorry. We're in line for probably about 7:15. 7:15, they open up the gates. They let us in, and then they have these roped off sections. Before you get to these roped off sections, you have to scan in your actual card. So any of the Disney properties like Disneyland Hotel, Pixar Pier, and the Grand Californian Hotel, you scan in your card and you go into this roped off line. And then that is where they let the people who have to stay on the Disney properties, let them in. And so at 7:30, all the Disney property people start running to the like rides. It's just insane. Even though everybody's like walk, walk. No, we run, okay? And so my thing is we have to ping pong before we scan in our express. We go like usually we start at Space Mountain because Max wants to start on that. And then from there we go to like Autopia, and from Autopia we go to another ride, and then 30 minutes just goes by like nothing. And then you see the general public just running into this line. It's just insane, right? So then, like, because we're ahead, we just kind of hop from ride to ride without using our express. When it starts getting really busy, that's when we scan in our express, but we're strategic about it. So our favorite rides, we've already gone through. So by probably about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, I'm not kidding you. From 7:30 to 11, we've ridden all the rides that we would wanted to without our express.
Cool.
And then once 11 o'clock hits, that's when we use our express. And then we go on all of our favorite rides twice. And then probably by noon, I'm like, okay, let's go to the hotel because I want to have like some more alcohol so that we can, and free food. And so we go over to our hotel. I have my fill of alcohol and free food, and Max has his fill of free food. And if we want to, we go back to Disneyland and we just like actually take our time. So we are done with everything in Disneyland by noon. About 3 o'clock for sure. That's when I'm like, let's go to the hotel and enjoy the pool. And so that's when we go enjoy the pool. I get more alcohol, I get more food, and we just went to the pool. I mean, like those 4 hours of stress or of stress gives us enough time for like several hours of just relaxation. And that is my strategy with Disneyland. I wouldn't recommend it, especially if you're not that kind of a person. But if you are anal and you do not like to stand in line, then that's the way to go.
Man, I'm
Oh,
tired just hearing you say that.
on top of that, bring extra Tupperware. Because they'll let us take like the food, from the club level anytime we want. And so what I do is I usually just get extra Tupperware. One time they had, oh my gosh, they had Chinese food. They changed it up. One time they had Chinese food. They had dumplings, they had shumai, they had egg rolls, they had like some just wonderful things at the club level. And that was the same night where I bought like a dining pass so that we could have like front row seats to watch like the parade or something like that. It was some ridiculous. So anyway, just I we did the dining in the afternoon, and in the evening, I opened up my Tupperware full of Chinese food. We just like sat there waiting like an hour in advance for the parade to, come up so that we could enjoy it and not have to spend any money. But yeah, it's now that Max is like 14, and Damien's has a girlfriend, and they're probably be interested in going with us and stuff. I don't think I'm going to be all crazy like that. In fact, I'm just going to be like, okay, you guys are old enough. You could just go on your own. And I think I'm still going to go to that fancy hotel because, you just, I don't know. Once you've had a taste of luxury, it's kind of hard to go back, especially with the proximity, and then I'll probably just enjoy the pool and the jacuzzi and hang out there like an old fart and wait for my kids to come back. Yeah, dude. There was one time where another family came with us, and oh, I still think about that day and think, God, what a mistake. I decided to let my friend lead, and it was like a bunch of unnecessary walking, unnecessary waiting, and she just wouldn't budge. She wouldn't do my plan for whatever reason. And even Max had admitted that my plan works if you want to enjoy Disney. We even let her stay at our hotel room so that she could enjoy club level too. And I thought maybe, if I had like another friend and we had other kids, that we would be able to enjoy ourselves. But no, unfortunately, you have to consider another person's itinerary too. And that was a mistake. I either need like my own kids or another adult that is completely complicit. I'll do whatever I say because I've got that plan tapped in.
I guess there's some collaborology to be discussed there at some future point. Jack,
Hey, I just
go
oh,
ahead.
does Jack have to go?
No, 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 no.
Oh, does he want to talk? Am I too?
No, I think your story's not done yet.
Oh no, my story is done.
I was just about to share an aside with Jack. Jack, see, this is why I live vicariously via Kayla. That's not a life that I live.
Refuse to wait in line. I'm telling you, I just refuse. I refuse to wait in line. I refuse to be in the middle of a crowd. Like, same with concerts. I remember we went to the Beastie Boy concerts, and I was young and pretty, and like, I just remember working the security guard. They let me go into the pit section. Like we will stay. My cousin and I ended up going to when we went to this Beastie Boy concert, we ended up camping out in front of Blockbusters. This was when Blockbusters was still around and buying tickets, right? That's what we did. So we went there at 6 in the morning and waited until Blockbusters opened up at like 9, I think. Bought our tickets. And then when we actually went to the Beastie Boy concert, we went there like an hour early again, you know, waited for general public to open up. And she went all the way like, to the front of the general public section. But before us was this um, pit section, and you obviously had to pay a lot more just to go to the pit section. So I actually went to the side, which is a lot closer to the stage because I wanted to be close to the stage. And there happened to be like, the security guard there. He was a head of security guard. He was a little person, and nobody was like standing in that point. They were standing in the general public in the front. That's what everybody had wanted. But I was very strategic and I stood at the side of the stage and just happened to strike a conversation with the head of the security guard there. And so by the time the concert opened up, there was so many people. There was a lot of people who just like went to the side like I did too at that point. But the security guard and I had enough of a rapport that he asked me if I wanted to go into the pit. I was all, hell yeah, I do. So I ran into the pit. My cousin looked at me and she's like, "You fucking bitch! You bitch!" She kept looking at me like, and I'm all woohoo, just like dancing around in the pit. And then afterwards, plenty of room. It was awesome. I enjoyed the concert, everything. And then afterwards, I think the security guard and that connection with the security guard, he was like, "You guys want to go into backstage and meet everybody?" And we did. So yeah, I'm a bit of a princess when it comes to big crowds. I refuse. If there's a will, there's a way. But sadly, now that I'm older and not as attractive as I was when I was 20, I have to pay for everything. I can't schmooze my way and make connections.
Welcome to my life, Kayla. Yeah, I was
you
never
know,
able to go into the pit and throw my panties at a band.
oh my
Oh,
gosh, that was the best. I remember some naked girl, like this lady took off all of her clothes. I remember, and she jumped up on stage. And you could tell like the security guard was kind of hesitant. Everybody was laughing. Like the Beastie Boys were just kind of looking at her. But yeah, she was in the pit too. I remember that. Anyhow, I'm so sorry if I'm dumbing down the session, but like I said, Disneyland is a fun question.
oh, yeah, right. Roping around back to Disneyland. I don't know. This is so foreign to me. I don't know how to respond. Jack, have you lived that life?
Um, not not nearly to the degree that Kayla.
And you know what, Jack? Okay, there's probably stuff there she's not even saying. Okay.
Oh my gosh. I know there's just like so much in my history that like all of my cousins and so they're just like, "You're a development director? You got into VCBH?" I'm like, in spite of all of the choices that you guys have seen publicly, I'm actually pretty smart. I actually have a brain, you know? So
Let me tell you about the time I went to an orchestra concert.
you had panties thrown at you at the
That's
orchestra
right. No, no, no.
concert.
I was throwing my underwear at the conductor. Yeah. Sorry, I'm still visualizing.
Even in dance, I just refuse to be in the middle. Like I always want to be in the front. That is my secret. Is like there's more room in the front. People can see you in the front. You can lead in the front, you know?
Hmm.
So I'd always been a frontline dancer. I work my ass off just to be in the front.
Yeah, Jack, were you always in the front?
Um, no, I was enough on the spectrum that I stand at the back of the room.
Uh-huh. Well, Kayla, just for me, I guess the epitome of my dancing career is for about a decade, I used to go to this thing called West Coast Chinese Family Camp in Monterey, California. And this is where, Chinese and related other Asian families go for about 4 days on a weekend in August so that their kids can meet each other and hopefully make friends and, da 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 da. And
Oh.
one of the things I found really odd about that is there was nothing Chinese about the stuff that we were doing there. They were all born in the U.S. They had no accents. They had, all the practices of Western culture. And one night was line dancing night. So
Oh.
one of the guys was basically a line dance caller. So he would do a half-hour class for everybody, and then we'd spend another hour after that doing line dances, and he would put on various different songs. And so that's about the epitome of my dancing career right there.
Oh. So you did get the benefits of dance, though.
Oh yeah, I
Line dancing
mean
is
just
fun.
just as bad as everybody else. Yes, point to the right, point to the left. Spin around this way, spin around that way.
I love line dancing.
Yeah, it's fun, but it's not at the level of what you do.
Oh.
Well, in the reply to what you said about your parents sending you to basically a Chinese camp, an Asian camp, we did that with our Korean adoptees, and the reason wasn't to let them learn some foreign language. It was just to be with people that looked like them.
Yeah, yeah. Just a small addendum. It wasn't my parents that sent me to that. It was I and my ex-wife who sent our kids and us to this West Coast Chinese family camp. This was mostly through 2003 to about, I don't know, early 2010s. And then the kids got old.
Ah,
It's mostly for, like elementary school through high school. That's mostly the age they're
right.
targeting. I could have benefited from something like that because when I was going through school, I went through school with very few Asians. Like, for example, in California, which is where I started when I was like six, first grade, no other Asians. Second and third grade was Baltimore, Maryland, no other Asians. Fourth grade through sixth grade, -5. I don't have a fifth grade education. I don't remember any Asians there, and that was Albuquerque. Seventh through ninth grade was middle school. Actually, they call it junior high in Albuquerque. I don't remember any Asians there. In high school, I finally, actually, 10th grade was also Albuquerque. So 11th grade and 12th grade, there's finally one other Asian in a school that I attended, and he was Japanese. David Tanaka at Lakeside School in Seattle. That was my first experience with another Asian student, co-student in my entire high school career was one Asian. Yeah.
By the way, Westerners call it Tanaka. I asked Izuru,
Mhm.
what is it? He said it's Tanaka.
Okay, I could be wrong, yes. But he
Oh,
himself
no,
called himself Tanaka.
of course he does
Yeah,
because he has to go with the crowd.
yeah.
But no, I was sitting in Tokyo at a dining table with him, and I just said, I need to ask you, are we butchering your name? And he says, no, everybody does that, but it's technically Tanaka.
Since you brought him up, is he still alive and kicking? Is he retired now?
Oh, I went to his retirement ceremony,
Oh man, I would have got it had I known. Sorry.
and he showed a photo of him sitting in on the couch next to Engelbart that I think that you took.
Yes, I arranged that.
Yes, I know you did.
with you and David Price and
That's correct.
was it
And
Frodo on
so
that trip?
he
Or
was, well, Mei Lin, but she didn't go. She was running a meetup thing, and David stayed with her, and you and I went
Mhm.
uh, to
Doug's beautiful Atherton home, right?
well, we went there, but we also, you and I and he went to in your car went to someplace in San Francisco where you had to give a guest lecture.
Where was that? Was that San Francisco State?
Yeah, San Francisco State.
Yes. I gave a lecture about collaborology or
That
community of impact. Sorry, community of impact was what I was
right.
speaking
And
about.
he and
Yes.
Yuzuru and I sat in the audience like students. It was fun.
That was a fun experience. Yeah. I think I went too fast because the students didn't ask very many questions.
Well, Yuzuru invited me to Tokyo in 2015 to do a keynote. But then he said, I've got you a ticket to come up to Kyoto.
Whoa.
And so I flew a 737 up to Kyoto and took a really gorgeous picture of Mount Fuji out the window
Yes.
with
Yes.
with I had a tablet computer and I just aimed the computer at it and shot and God, it's a good picture. And and Kyoto was still snowed in, and uh, and uh, and so I stayed at a hotel there for 2 nights, and um, the first day I had to give my speech, my Tokyo talk, to his students and some other professors, and so we all had a good time at the university on that day, and then the second day. I went back and sat in his his commencement speech,
Mm.
and it was all in Japanese, of course. I didn't,
Mhm.
uh, but he showed that slide, and it was pretty clear to me how proud he was to have spent time with Engelbart.
I'm so happy to hear that. I love Tadaka-san. Even in just the 2 or 3 short meetings that I had with him, over a couple of workshops or conferences.
Well, those were in Dubrovnik, yeah.
Yeah. No, he also came to Jerry Mikulski's.
Well, so I brought him there.
Yes,
Yes.
I remember. I went there that year also. You
You
were the
went
one
there?
who got me there as well.
Okay. And I brought David Price.
We all four were there. Yes.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And at any rate, I can remember calling Jerry and saying, I want to bring in this guy from Tokyo and from Japan. And I don't recall how Jerry connected with him, but he did his due diligence. And so that was fine. And Yuzuru flew in, and was it you that drove him up to?
Yes, I remember. I remember driving that whole way up to the Marconi Conference Center.
That's correct. Well, so what David Price did is he came and stayed at my house in Menlo Park, and slept there one night, and then we drove up, and I do not remember how. Ah, I do remember. I brought him back, and Bill Dahl came in, rode in the back seat of the car with me coming back. Um, I don't remember whether I dropped David off at the airport or something, but that was that.
So Kayla, a little bit of background here. The Jerry that we're talking about runs an
Mhm.
annual. I'm wondering whether it's still going, Jack, but it's an annual workshop, and he also runs the Thursday morning OGM calls that Stacy often talks about. I don't know if you've been there, but
No.
Jack and Stacy sometimes, or maybe more times, go to that one also on Thursday mornings.
Nice.
And that workshop is actually quite a number of people, right, Jack? I don't remember how many, but it was more than I could count. Maybe 100. I don't know.
Oh, it was clearly very close to 100, yes.
Yeah.
And people brought their spouses and so on and so forth.
Hmm.
And Jerry did this interesting thing. You had to share a room with somebody else, and it was always somebody you didn't know.
Hmm.
But my first retreat with Jerry was in Toronto, and I called my friend Steve Newcomb and I said, um, would you be interested in going to a retreat in Toronto? And he says, well, he says, as a matter of fact, I'm in Toronto now because he owns some fishing property or something there. So I got Jerry to call him, and sure enough, Newcomb came to Toronto, but it was all on such short notice that I shared the room with Steve.
Mm. Yeah, just for background again, Kayla, this place, the Marconi Conference Center, that was where I went, and Jack, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's where the first radio signal was sent from the mainland to some island out in the Pacific. Did it go as far as
Wow.
Japan, or was it someplace in Hawaii or Guam?
Yeah, it would
Do you
have been
remember?
something. That's exactly right. And the tower is no longer there, but the base of the tower is.
Yeah.
But Marconi was kind of thought to be the inventor of wireless
Hmm.
uh, transmission, and so this was kind of a game changer to have long distance communication without wires. Telegraph
Yes.
was the
Yeah.
main thing in telephone, but wireless. So that opened the door to television and all kinds of other stuff. And so that property became I don't know how it's a resort, whether it's a private property or what, but I thought that it was a state preserve of some kind.
Yeah, I don't know that, but it's remarkable because they have such a collection of old radio equipment, right?
That's the
Probably
point.
about
Yeah.
100 or 120, I don't know how many years old that stuff is. And so you get a bit of electronics, wireless, technology history by going to that place, which is really, really kind of fun to do.
Oh, that's great. Thanks for
Yeah.
the background.
You
Not
can
only that, but because it's on the coast, it's beautiful. It looks right out onto the Pacific Ocean.
Aw.
so you can look up Marconi Center in on Wikipedia and you'll see the whole story.
Yeah.
Got it. It is it in any way related to Marconi, the person who has these cars? Like,
I don't know anything about the cars.
okay, never mind then. Yeah,
Marconi.
I was like the Marconi Museum has these like cars and anyways, we did this gala there um a long time
Is that
ago.
in
It's in
Southern
the
California?
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, it was really cool. Had this huge event with these cars. and like these classic, beautiful cars there.
Huh.
So I'm going to sign off now and go into Ward Cunningham's tribe.
Okay. Well, good to reconnect, Jack. We will, let's see, this is Sunday, right? Yeah, so I'm back basically for the Saturday, Sunday rhythm. I was just off for 2 weekends because I took that little trip to go see my parents.
Yeah, well, that's I'm glad you did, and it's really cool you took your kids.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have 3 kids, but only 2 of them could make it. Amy was unable to make it, so at least 2 of them got to go. So I'm gonna try and find another opportunity to go with Amy.
All right, see you
Mhm.
all.
Okay, bye, Jack.
Good to hear from you, Jack. See
Yes.
you hopefully next weekend or sometime thereby soon.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Cheers. I'm looking up Marconi Automotive Museum, and I'm just trying to see if it has any connection with the Marconi. It's an unusual name, but it's
Yeah,
probably, I mean, here in the U.S., it's probably maybe not that unusual
another part of the world.
in Italy. It says Dick and John Marconi, so it doesn't mention anything about the Marconi family. So I suspect it's not affiliated with the Radio Marconi.
Okay,
I mean, just by looking at the front page of this website, that's all I know.
got it.
I could be wrong. Yeah, but it does have a 714 area code, just like
Like
everybody
me.
else I know. Yep.
I was plugging in your phone number, I mean.
Yeah.
And then I came across like previous messages we had. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so we have interacted on Cell, and man, we're both old enough to have forgotten that.
Well,
I mean, I can use that excuse, but it's harder for you to use that excuse.
I just didn't know. I knew we had, but I just didn't know if I saved your number. That was the
Oh,
thing.
okay. You know,
Yeah.
I use Google Voice. That's why I have all my texts going back to the day one when I signed on with Google Voice. All
uh,
of my texts are still, well, that's the way Google likes it. So they've got all of that history to mine. But I also have it all.
well,
Yeah. So
man, you
everybody
are
who's
a tech
texted
geek.
me, I mean, Google Voice is one of the best products Google has, and sorry to say, but for the record, it was an acquisition that Google did. They did not come up with it themselves.
Oh, okay.
And one of the things I don't like about Google is probably one of the really, I mean, there's many things not to like about Google, but one of the things about Google is they try things and then they cancel things. So you'll jump onto one of their products, and then a few years later, if it's not profitable, they'll just cancel it. And they don't care
Wow.
much if people are using it. They did this with their competitor to Facebook. I don't know if you remember. I think Barry used it for a while. They call it Knoll, Knol. Have you ever heard of it? Probably not. There are only like 10 million
No, no,
users
no.
of it.
I actually did hear about it.
Yeah, because I think Barry mentioned it at least, and you might have also come across it in other forms. But yeah, I created
Yeah.
an account, but they just up and decided, okay, it's gone now. So that's one thing I don't like about Google is that they just try things, launch them, you pay for it, and then boom, it's gone. And they've tried that several times with Google Voice, and I've written them scathing notes, in advance saying, "Don't you ever cancel this product." You know, just absolutely never. I will start a riot if you cancel this product. And a lot of other people
Yeah.
feel that way too, because Google Voice is actually a pretty good service. It's not perfect, there's a few things that are missing, but it's really good. And really, the primary reason is I can have one Google Voice number, and I can actually switch out phones, switch out carriers like AT&T, T-Mobile, whatever, and nobody needs to know. All they know is that one Google Voice number, and it forwards to all of my other devices. In fact, I can have, as you know, I carry more than one device. One text sent to my Google Voice number goes to each of my devices, and all of that history is kept like forever or as long as Google Voice is around. So I
No.
can search it.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, so small plug slash criticism of Google Voice. Sorry for that minor rant.
Yeah, it's okay. I was ranting today too.
Yeah. Actually, no, it's
Just
fun to hear
fun
about
rants.
your strategic approach to Disneyland.
I always have to have a plan and a strategy. And in fact, Halloween Horror Nights is coming up, and we're not doing the RIP tour, which I'm really sad about. But I'm still going to look at my finances to see if we could kind of sort of swing it.
Hmm.
But I am making a plan just in case. And, that plan involves just the same thing because to save money, we only got the one um, express pass for each of the houses, just one, and the rides. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to hit all of the mazes and all of the rides, and then kick in our express pass when like the crowds come. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably just slow you down if I ever went to something like that.
I don't walk fast too, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna have to exercise a little bit more these next couple of
Yeah.
weeks just to be able to keep up with the kids.
If I were ever to join you, I'd have to go through like 6 week boot camp just to train and get physically fit so I could actually do something like that.
So you can speed walk. So
Oh,
you could
speaking of,
effectively go ahead.
I can't, because yeah, I'm 20 years older than you are.
Yeah. Oh, hey. I hear there's like 90-year-olds running marathons these days.
That's true.
So
That's true. Hey, I went on a 2 mile walk with my dogs yesterday. Still keeping that up.
nice. Yeah.
Wasn't
Good.
three. I could have gone three, but I did two.
Oh
So how
man.
have you been in the last 22 hours?
You know, visit my dad again. Um,
Oh,
it's it's really sad. His decline is very sad. I have to say this. I'm very jealous of how Barry passed and how your parents are still alive at 90. You know, very jealous of that. It sounds like they're well enough to still 100% join people in this reality. And my dad, unfortunately, is not. But I went with my older son, Damien. And anyways, before I tell you about my dad, Damien and I had a really good chat. Well, I actually talked more because he doesn't really talk. Um, and he was telling me that he's applying for several UCs, several state colleges, and I think most of them because they're here in California. He said he wants to stay local to California, which I think is really good.
hmm.
But he did say that they're probably going to be waived. The applications. He did say that I think he's applying for Stanford, but he's applying for USC, UCLA, San Diego State, Long Beach State, um, or Cal State Long Beach, and a couple of others that Fullerton. But he really wants to get to the UCs, either the UCs or UCLA.
Not
But
Santa
I'm
Barbara
secretly
or
no,
San
no.
Diego?
Oh, San Diego. He wants to. Oh, UC San Diego. No, I
Yeah.
think he said San Diego State. He wanted to
Okay.
go to San Diego State. Um, so it's really interesting the choices that he has. But
Yep.
if he gets into Stanford, I'm going to push that shit. Bitch, that is an Ivy League. Go.
Oh no, don't call Stanford an Ivy League. That's an insult.
What would you call it then?
I mean, look, Stanford actually aligns with its values. Harvard compromised their values when they caved in to Trump.
Yeah, I
So
know.
I really, really thought they dropped a few notches in my mind for doing that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, but he is when I asked him, the application essay, he said that he's going to base it on my dad. He said a
Oh,
lot of, he said that um, he said that my dad taught him a lot, and I'm like, well, what did he teach you? And he's like, oh, I don't know. Oh, my son is so predictable. He doesn't like to say, I don't know what it is. But anyways, I was just like in my head, I was like, oh yeah, he's gonna say I don't know. And then he said, I don't know. And then I'm also, what is one thing that grandpa taught you? He's like, he taught me about boxing. And I was thinking, okay, that's really
Sorry.
So I gave him a lot more like to think of. I said, okay, well, I said, let me tell you about grandpa through my eyes, and maybe that'll give you a lot more to think about. And so I was
Mm-hmm.
able to tell him like things about my dad that he may not have known, or things about me that come from my dad, like singing. Like I sing aloud in my house.
Mm-hmm.
I put on songs, I blast them, I sing. The kids get all pissed off, tell me to shut up. And, it's the same thing that happened with my dad. My dad would sing and we'd be all, stop, shut up, ah, and we just like knock him down. And so that's this one of the things that he did. Another thing is he was very blunt. I was telling my son that, I had wanted to be model at one point because I had so many people telling me, oh my God, you could be a model. Ah. And so I'm like, oh yeah, okay. I want to be a model. Very easy, fun, easy money, right? And
Mm-hmm.
my dad straight up was just like, well, what's going to happen when you get old and ugly and fat? He's all like, what are you going to do? And I remember getting so hurt by that. Like, he's all like, no, what are you going to do? What do you plan? And then that was when he just went in to lecture me about being smart is much better than being pretty. And so, my son laughed at that. And I was like, yeah, your grandpa was just a little too straightforward sometimes, and so those are just some examples of
Mm-hmm.
our 1.5
And
conversation.
he listened intently.
Yeah, yeah, he did. Yeah, we even shed some tears. I was just explaining how his grandfather is probably the first and one of the only men that I know to apologize fully without expecting anything in return. That's one thing that my dad was really good at, which unfortunately I did not inherit. I inherited my mom's stubbornness to not really say sorry and to have like something attached to that apology. But I've since learned that, so of course I've tried to remedy it as best as I could. But it was my dad who was very good at letting things roll off of his back. And so when he knew that he did somebody wrong or hurt somebody, he would often say sorry. And it wasn't like, oh well, the reason I'm sorry that I yelled and the reason why I yelled is X, Y, and Z. He was just like, I'm sorry I yelled at you. And that was it. It was very, very sincere. And that's something even to this day, like again, I don't know if I told you this, but the week that my dad was admitted to the hospital before he got really sick, he apologized to me and my sister for not telling us that he loved us enough. He said he doesn't know why it's hard for him to say I love you, and he understands that about himself, but he said just know that for all of my life I've loved you guys so much. I just wasn't saying it. So, you know, made me and my son cry. That whole thing. But yeah, my dad has always been really good at that. He's always been really good at reminiscing, and just really trying to, um, I guess, trying to offload his guilt and trying to salvage some of the relationships that might have been damaged, with us. So another thing that my dad was very good at too is making sure that we were taken care of before anybody else was taken care of. So we would have these huge family parties. It was just awesome, Filipino food. My dad would strategize the food the week of our big parties, make the purchases and stuff days before, and then like cook at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning up until people came. And so often people stopped by in the afternoon, like just to eat because there was more than enough, and they knew that my dad was pretty much almost done with the food by lunchtime. So we always had a trickle of visitors, and everybody just commented about how wonderful my dad's food was. And so my cousins were always like, "Yeah, we love going to your parties because you have the best food because of your dad." But what they didn't know about my dad is that even though he cooked all these wonderful large meals for everybody, he always saved like, you know, the filet mignons for us, the lobster for us, the crab legs. He always saved like the best choice cuts of steak for us, you know. Um, he always made sure that we had the best cars. He always made sure that we, you know, had the best that he could provide. You know, he it's like he showed off, but through us.
Hmm.
He wasn't like trying to show off and making somebody else's like I don't do that to my kids. Like if I give a gift, it is, you know, it's a good gift to another person, right? But for my kids, I always make sure that I give them the best before, you know, I have the means to give to another person. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah. So he always put our family first in that respect. And I think that's why I was telling Damien, I said that I think that's why that you guys like I always make sure that we have express pass or I always make sure we go to the Grand Californian Hotel. You know, I don't do that. You know, I'll allow a friend or two to come with us, but I don't do that for them. I do that for you guys.
Yeah.
So, and one thing that my dad noticed, which was really interesting, is that my ex, you know, their dad always took care of other people first before he took care of us.
Ooh.
And so my dad said, I didn't like that. He goes, I noticed that Kenny does that and I don't like that. I was all like, yeah, that's right. But yeah, I mean, health wise, my dad can't turn his head to look at me. He often is staring blankly into the wall. Uh oh, hold on. What are you doing, Rocky? No, you can't go outside. Okay. So he's always staring blankly into the wall. Um, it's hard to hear him now. It's hard to understand what he's saying. Not to say that tomorrow or today might be a different story.
Hmm.
Um, it's like he's with us, but not with us. He's when I walked into the house, he was moaning a lot. And then my brother and my mom were saying that that's kind of normal and they feel like he's just wanting to get attention. He repeats himself often,
Hmm.
and it's a really sad, hard thing for everybody to look at. And I think my mom is very, very frustrated. So, because he's always calling for her. And so, anyways, when we went to visit, I stayed in the room with my dad almost the entire time.
Hmm.
I was singing to him. You know, I felt like he needed a human being's touch. So I was massaging his shoulder. I was holding his hand. I was trying to talk to him. But it's really, it really sucks to see this.
Your dad loved you.
No, totally. I was his favorite daughter, his favorite child. I think even my mom said that when I went to when he was still in the hospital and I went to visit. My mom was talking to the nurses and she saw me come in and she's like, "Oh, there's the favorite." She's coming through the door. I'm like, "Yes." I even told my kids that. Well, by the way, not to brag, but I am your grandpa's favorite daughter.
Did that piss off your siblings?
No, they know. You know the funny thing about okay, it does make me feel really guilty that um like held on to so much stubborn anger. And, you know, I know I made a lot of excuses and I always told everybody why. But now that I look back and I see, like, my why really didn't matter. Um, I think my siblings have both seen that change, and now they all want to be together. Again, it's like the family that I wish that I had, like I have now, in this later stage in life, and how we're just like, yeah, no, let's just hang out. My brother was saying he's leaving again for North Carolina probably in a week and a half, and he said that we should get together, like all of us siblings and just the core family. Of course the kids,
Hmm.
but we should get together as much as we can before he leaves because we just really sit around and just talk. We reminisce about the past and talk very plainly. We're very kind to one another too now, and I do feel kind of bad and responsible because I realize that it's like the family really needs everybody to be together and on the same page. And I feel like I was kind of the link that was kind of off a little, and now that I've kind of come together and we're all in line, even my mom, there is just a lightness in our core family nucleus that we're all very much in sync. And it's become such a wonderful thing. So it makes me feel very guilty that it's happening. You know, it happened. Like my dad had to get really sick like this for it to happen. But you know what? It's happening. So um, I'll take it.
You know how many families don't reconstitute the family and just never come back together?
Yeah, I know.
I'm happy for you and your family.
Thanks. Me too.
So when is this reunion? Or are they all here now? Or there now?
Yeah, they're all here. Um, my sister and my brother are here. Obviously my mom, but my brother was just saying we should just get together, just us, as much as we can at my mom's house.
Hmm.
You could tell my mom loves it too.
Hmm.
Just loves having company there, having us there. It's really nice. I told my mom yesterday that she smells good. She looks really good because prior to that, she was looking a bit haggard, you know. But she's like, "Oh, thank you. I got my hair cut and I got my nails done and she had matching pajamas on that looked really good on her."
Hmm.
And I'm all like, "You look cute, mom." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, thank you." And she gave me a big hug. And it was a very sincere, loving hug.
Hmm. I remember when you were wondering what to do about Damien because he chose to live with Kenny.
Uh-huh.
So I'm really happy that you and Damien are getting along much better, it sounds like, recently.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, he's matured so much and grown so much.
Hmm.
I feel like I just need to download everything onto him. You know, his I feel like the moves that I make are very important to my kids. You know, um, Admitting that I'm wrong. Okay, you know what I do, see, which is awful. I see like I gossip every day with my sister. We just talk, we gossip, right? We unload and everything. And now I'm seeing Max do it, and I'm like, oh my God, why did I do that? And so like I'm trying not to intervene when he starts like gossiping with his friends and stuff, but I do give him little try to give him little crumbs of wisdom, and just I try to tell him like, hey, I get it if you need to vent to somebody, but you just know that I vent to your Auntie Karen. And that's like, and maybe my gay coworker, Steve. I said, maybe Steve. And I said, but I don't try and like engage actively in gossip with groups because they're very toxic. And so I try to tell him that. I don't know if he gets it or not, but I realize my actions mean so much to the kids, and they have such a huge effect um, whether I know it or not. And so it was really important for me to just like be with my dad, sing to him, and show some kindness. And I just felt like it was really important for me to actually admit certain things to my son too. Um, so it's also, I'm starting to realize that I need to take care of myself, because I don't want, Max, especially growing up thinking that success is this all consuming sacrifice, to where I'm not happy, but I'm doing everything to sacrifice, for the kids. I don't want them growing up to think that they have to be trapped in that sort of like self-sacrifice. Because I find myself a lot tired now, you know. I'm happy that I don't have like this huge group of friends, but I also realize that the benefits of just like going out with people aren't just for my own mental health, but to show the kids too that, I can actually, mingle with other people too and have fun. And anyhow, trying to be very conscious of my moves these days.
One of the things that I'm realizing as I do more and more research about life elsewhere other than the US
Hmm.
is just how much that comes across. That life is slower in places like Greece, Italy, other European countries. It's not the, hectic, man, got to cram for 10 hours, got to do it for 6 days a week, got to be up at 2 o'clock checking emails, that sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
It's more like, hey, enjoy life, and if you've got enough, enjoy it. You don't have to be a billionaire. You don't have to go and, be cruel to others. Um, get together with community, with friends, enjoy a 4 hour dinner. Man, that's so nice to see and so foreign to me, yet at the same
Yes.
time.
Yeah. It's almost a little like, it just makes me wonder why I'm so scared of that, you know?
Scared of doing that, you see? You're
Just because
saying?
when I was in my 20s, I wasn't scared of it at all.
Hmm.
Yeah. Like, why is it preventing me from, number one, being that person now, but number two, like, making the moves to live that life? So I'm proud of you. I'm happy that you're doing that for yourself, that you're already starting to make that move.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just had to start looking at other options than this country. And there's a lot to like about other places.
Yeah.
I mean, even if all the chaos weren't happening in this country, learning about all those other places is still phenomenal. And it's still, um, life enhancing. But the
Yeah.
fact that I was motivated to try and find an alternative to this country made it, more pressing. And I like what I'm seeing out there.
Yeah. And you're not in your 20s or 30s when people typically, look at something like that. So
Hmm.
it's very inspiring that, you're a little older and that you're looking at that because I need to start telling myself that too.
My extended family, when I told them that I was looking and I went from like 99.6% likely to 100% likely, and they said, "Well, aren't you afraid you're gonna have to learn a new language and people are not gonna like you and they only want you for your money and once your money dries up, they're not gonna like you and they're gonna push you away." And I thought, geez, why think this way? Everybody, in fact, all the people from my family, starting with my dad who came to the US,
Hmm.
had to overcome all those issues. So it's doable, So why are these people just coming up with all this negativity? Look
That
at it as an
fear.
opportunity. Yes, exactly. Because they want to hang on to their existing comfort.
Yep.
That's why I think good is the enemy of great. I wasn't the first one to say that, obviously, but it really comes
Ooh, who
across when you
was?
see this kind of thinking. So yeah, I'm excited to learn a new language, learn new customs, actually meet some friendly people. Don't have to be pushing and shoving, to try and get mine and make other people lose theirs, in this zero sum game. I'm really excited to get in, to a different place, physically as well as mentally and emotionally.
Yeah.
You know what popped up yesterday in my studies and research? I say studies. Basically, YouTube shoved it at me, okay? It was that I found out that of all the European nations, Estonia has embraced technology and being online and being connected. They are better connected than every other country in Europe, it turns out. Their average internet connection speed is higher in Estonia than every other country. And all the application processes, the financial dealings, transactions, even if you're not in country, can all be done and it's legally acceptable to be doing it online. So Estonia is a very small country. I found out there are only like 1 million people, very small. But man, they have, you know, no threats. I mean, they're too small for anybody to really threaten them, it seems like. So they're kind of a very neutral place, but very high tech. So that was fascinating for me to find out. So I'm going to do a little bit more looking into Estonia.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hmm. Other than that, there are obviously the popular places, and I've mentioned a few of them already. But as I look more and more, Montenegro has also popped up, and Uruguay has popped up. So,
Ooh.
yeah, really. Uruguay is described as the Switzerland of South America.
Oh,
Yeah.
that used to be Costa Rica.
Well, according to what I was shown by YouTube, that's the way they characterize Uruguay now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Hmm. Not in the sense that it's expensive. It's not. But in the neutrality, in the fact that it turns out the Uruguayan visa and passport can go to more countries than almost every other passport. It's
Wow.
accepted in more countries than almost every other one. There might be like one that's more accepted, and it's not the US. But I think Uruguay can get you almost any place you want to go.
Wow. Well, I think I'm gonna start looking at Uruguay too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
There's something about South America that I love.
well, do you
I
already know the language?
well, a little bit. I can speak a little bit of Spanish. I'm not fluent
Hmm.
in it,
Yeah.
but I already
Well,
know the, Costa Rican lifestyle. But go ahead.
oh, there you go. In fact, Nick and Ronnie both took 3 years of Spanish, and I haven't taken any Spanish, but I've been told, and I believe it, that it's one of the easier languages for English speakers to pick up. So I would
Yeah.
be very willing to learn Spanish. I can already ask, ¿Dónde está los baños? Or I'm sure the grammar is wrong, but I can do simple things like that.
¿Cuánto
I can say
cuesta?
something like dos camarones, por favor. That's not. I mean, that's the most important thing is to order camarones.
Yeah, right?
So that's just from 2 or 3
Exactly.
trips down to San Felipe.
Yeah, I know.
And by the way, to
I will
countries like
always just love the
Panama,
tropics.
yes,
Yes.
the Amazon, the lushness. I mean, obviously you got to deal with the temperature, but in Uruguay, there's some altitude places, further from the coast that are actually not quite as humid and hot. I think, that's what I've been hearing or seeing or studying. So yeah, there's some nice alternatives there. And what else was I about to say? Something slipped my mind. I was about to say it. Um, isn't Uruguay the place that had a president who was so of the people that he even donated the bulk of his salary to civic causes and decided not to take it all for himself?
Oh, that would be a dream.
Yeah, I think he was the guy that a decade ago was famous for, there's like Facebook memes of him doing this.
Wow.
And it wasn't a huge salary to begin with, but he still donated it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you
Yeah.
imagine
We
these
gotta
billionaire
surround
tech bros doing that?
we gotta surround ourselves with good people,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. And there are a lot of good
cultivate.
people. They just don't get
Yeah,
all the notoriety.
right.
Press loves, sensationalizing, evildoers.
Hmm.
And, the greedy billionaires and tech bros. And we're supposed to worship them. Ay, ay, ay. Or
Yeah.
rather, ay caramba.
Oh, there you go.
Or in Taiwanese, uh, I should say it in Taiwanese. It's, ay,
In French, oh mon Dieu.
Or in Younglish, WTF.
Yeah, right. In in Tagalog or Ilocano, this is what I say to the kids all the time. Hala. As always, hala. I got that from my dad.
Mhm.
I say it in front of their friends too now. What is that? Why did she say that? I was like,
Kayla, when you were describing your dad and your interactions with him,
uh-huh.
what was going through my mind also is it's really sad how men's emotions are supposed to be suppressed and people don't allow men to feel or to express those feelings. Even men don't allow themselves to do that. I'm guilty of that myself. And it creates this false, it's part of the toxic masculinity that, you're supposed to be this stereotypical, stoic who just puts up with everything and has no emotions. And
Yeah,
yet inside, more men are suffering than women know.
yeah, I believe that. I've been seeing a lot more of men's emotions popping up, which is a good thing. Another good thing about social media, another good thing about entertainment too, is because I've been watching the behind the scenes of the Chief of War or Cheeks of
Oh,
War. I like
okay.
I like to call it the Cheeks of War. Apparently, that's what the locals in Hawaii are calling it because you could see like Jason Momoa's butt cheeks as well as everybody else's butt cheeks.
Okay, okay, I get it now.
So the cheeks of war. Anyhow, the So Jason Momoa co-wrote and co-produced it with just this person named his last name I think is Sibit. I think his name might be Jason too, but I don't remember. Anyways, oftentimes when he discusses the production or the behind the scenes, he's crying. He takes a moment and he actually cries on camera. Like he was describing this Koa Vahine is the name of a woman warrior, and they had featured these Koa Vahine in the final episodes of Cheeks of War. And so they said that the stunt woman who had done all of that, and mind you, a lot of these people are Native Hawaiians. So the stunt woman who put it all together got injured during their last take, and so she had to be pulled out, and she didn't want to, but they were just like, "You can't do the scene," because the whole thing was amazing. They filmed it on these lava rocks, these real rocks in Hawaii, and it was, a lot of people thought it was impossible, but it wasn't. So anyway, he was expressing how she felt during, she wasn't crying because she was injured. She was crying because she was like a real koa wahine, and she couldn't be out there like in production, and represent that about herself. And so I really appreciate these men and their emotions. Like even in TikTok, you see a lot of, the men being truly emotional about something. And it just makes me go, oh man, if only like my dad, or even my ex had that opportunity to be a lot more emotional, I think
Hmm.
um, it would have been easier for us to really love them at the moment. So, where I did see my dad cry. It was slightly disturbing to see him cry. But my first reaction wasn't like, oh my God, this is disturbing. It was one of compassion. I was a
Hmm.
child when I saw him cry. The first memory I have of him is him crying inside the bathroom because he and my mom had a fight, and he was crying. But
I've never seen my dad cry,
ever?
ever.
Wow.
There was a moment though that I know he felt some emotion, and that is, my dad's a math professor, and after he retired, he started writing books. And he thought his last book was done when he wrote his fifth book, but then he actually wrote a sixth. And with each of them, I've helped him, like, set it up and format it and send it to the publisher and all that sort of thing. And on a few of them, I even, went to his place, either in Irvine or Hawaii, to help him finish. And on his sixth book, after we got it all done, he sent it in to, I think it was National Taiwan University Press to get it published. So when it was launched and he got some copies, it was during one of my trips that he took a copy of his book, and like every other time I go to Taiwan, we go and visit my grandfather's grave, my dad's father's grave. And he wanted to take this book with him. And he wanted a picture of him in this book at his father's grave tomb. And so we went, and Nick and Ronnie were there, I think, that day, and my mom was there. And so we did a lot. We took dozens of pictures. And we were about ready to go back. And then I remembered we were like several hundred yards away. And then I remembered, wait, 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 Dad, I haven't got the picture yet of you and your book and your and Akong's grave. And he was glad I remembered. I think he wasn't going to say anything, but I remembered. So we did go back, and I did take that picture. And he didn't cry, but I know it meant a lot to him. I could see that, he wanted to do that kind of to, I don't know, I guess make that connection and say to his dad, hey, coming to the US and kind of leaving the kids with you and breaking up the family and
Yeah.
reuniting was all worth it. I don't know what it was really saying, but I can only conjecture. But yeah, I think it meant something to him.
Yeah.
There's another little vignette for your fatherhood program, perhaps.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I was every week I look to see if the if the grant has been funded. First of all, it would help me a lot financially if the grant was funded, but second, you know, I think it would mean a lot to the community. Um, at this point, all of my grants, I kind of leave it up to God and the higher powers that be. But I am still trying to push that, being a little bit more strategic and aligned, so that way we
Mhm,
can, you know,
mhm.
we can have a strategy for the organization.
It sounds like it wouldn't even be approved as part of any syllabus or agenda or session focus. But if there is any way, I or anybody else could influence any of that, it would be for fathers to tell their family, tell their kids, tell their sons that they love them
Yeah,
more easily than society allows them to do today, or at least allows them to feel. They don't feel permitted, I think, to say stuff like that because it might look non-masculine.
Bill, you think?
Sorry, you're dropping out. I couldn't hear what you just last said.
Um, do you feel that our society still does not permit that?
There's a lot of people, especially older fathers, who can't say that easily.
Yeah,
Like I don't think my dad has never said that, but I think he's probably only said it probably once.
yeah. Um, I probably same with my dad. He's
Yeah,
said it more now than ever, but I did hear him say it all the time to my kids.
yeah.
I remember feeling really jealous about that.
Well, there's another old joke about grandkids. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it to you. The grandparents, said, "Hey, if I'd known how great grandkids are, I would have had them first."
That was probably said by an old Asian man, huh?
But I think that reflects what you were saying, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. The good thing about cooking for us, for the kids and me, is that I'm cooking for me and the kids, saving money, probably helping my health a lot. The bad thing is the dishes, man. Oh, every single day there's dishes and laundry, and then I've got the dogs and their hair.
Mhm.
Dishes, laundry, and dog hair. It's like a daily thing. Sorry, I didn't mean to change the subject.
No, no, it's perfectly appropriate because I have to admit I didn't used to do that, but now it's meditative for me to do the laundry and to do the dishes.
And clean up the dog hair.
Well, that part I still have to get around to doing as a habit, you know.
It's
But at least
hard,
I do.
huh?
But at least I do the dishes every day and I do the laundry, sometimes multiple times a day, but at least a couple, 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, the dog hair. Yeah, I'll do that every couple of months, whether I need it or not.
I swear, like my floors are all gritty, and then I just get exasperated at the carpet
Yeah.
because if I want to do like if I want to exercise and lay down on the carpet, I can't wear something that I'm going to wear in public, even if I want to go to the front yard, because
Hmm.
it's like my dress is covered in dog hair.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I have very few dark pants because of that. The Goldens. Yeah.
yeah, right.
I like tan, the khaki, but dark navy and black don't work because of that.
Yeah, that's why my comforters, they're all white
Yep.
because Eclipse lays with me.
Yep.
And so people are like, "Oh my God, you've got white with, dogs." I'm like, "Yeah, because one of them is white." So that's the one that sheds the most.
Hmm. Yeah, I think we could have a competition. I will bet you Goldens shed more than your Huskies.
I don't know. They are winter dogs and they are in California. So the shedding, I feel, is year round.
I mean, my ex-wife used to joke with all the fur we have to clean up, we could just make another whole dog every few months.
Oh, yeah, totally. I could knit
Hmm.
with the husky hair. In fact, I know people who do. They knit with their husky hair.
Really?
Or kind of like, what Tyra used to do, or or she still does, I think. She does this. She taught Max how to do that. Felting, or I forgot,
Oh
not
yeah.
felting. Yeah. Remember?
Hmm.
Every time she would go to a
Yes.
GCC session, she would do that.
She'd be working on her art. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Man, I miss Tyra, but she is so busy. She's, I wouldn't say that she's very busy, but she definitely puts herself first, and not in a bad way.
Hmm.
She's like really aware, self-aware. Like she doesn't like to do too much. Um, she doesn't like too many people around. Uh, she's very wonderful and very giving when she is around.
Hmm.
But she's very mindful of her energy and her capacity. And she does have some health issues. I do know that.
Yeah, I remember she did know how to take care of herself and pace herself.
Yeah.
Hmm. Plus, I suspect, kind of like you, when she was young, she was inundated with attention.
Holy crap. Those photos of her when she was young, I'm very attracted. I'm like, girl, no wonder your husband will not let you go.
Yeah,
Not for one bit.
yeah.
I mean, if I knew her back then, I'd be in love with her too. Gosh, talk about like drop dead gorgeous.
You should talk. You two both. It
We
would have been fun to
often
know
joke.
you two about 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. She and I joke about how we would have both been in so much trouble if we knew each other back then.
Hmm. Jeez. Okay, now my mind is racing.
Yeah.
What kind of trouble?
Yeah, right? Oh my gosh, we would get into so much trouble.
I mean, just even the names she mentions at times of people that she spent even weeks with, because she was in the business,
Yeah, I
on
know.
shoot locations.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that is a woman who can name drop and it's real.
yeah, definitely.
But she doesn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
That's what I love. Even her husband, from time to time, Vernon will post something. Oh yeah, this person had signed this for me, and then tell a little story about that person, like somebody extremely famous. But he doesn't do it often. But when he does do it, it's cool because you can actually appreciate that he's grown up in the business and that
Hmm.
his parents were well connected.
Hmm.
And he's a fantastic guy too.
Must be if Tyra is, back with him.
Oh yeah, he's wonderful.
Hmm.
There are a few men that I like, a few husbands that I like, and he's one of them.
Hmm.
Oh, talk about ranting too. I don't know. One of these days, we really should have Vernon on call because I don't know. Are you friends with Vernon on Facebook?
No, never met him. I'm not connected with
Oh,
him.
oh my God, he has the best rant about like Trump and Republicans.
Oh, good. I'd love to get him to share
You
that.
should see his writing. Oh my gosh. I'm going to tell Tyra, okay, we got to connect Sam and Vernon, and so that Sam can at least see his posts because they're brilliant. And the way he writes it, sometimes they make me laugh.
Hmm. Yeah, it'd be awesome to get him. So if you could mention that to them, and at some point we do it, or even say, hey, let's just do a completely separate thing from Saturdays or Sundays. I'm all for that.
Yeah.
It's good to know that he's um, that strong about that position.
Oh, he is very strong.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a little too much, too. Sometimes.
It
It's
couldn't be
not
any
just
more than
you.
me.
It's not just you. It's Vernon too. Sometimes I have to just scroll past all the rants. I'm like, okay, I need to take a break from this.
I think I like him already.
Yeah, exactly. He did. Tyra did tell me. So he did listen in on a session one time when
Oh.
Colin was active in a session,
Hmm.
and he thought everybody at GCC was crazy. So what the fuck are they talking about?
Hmm.
I was telling me. He's like, yeah. Vernon was listening in on a session one time.
Hmm.
He thinks everyone's crazy.
Has he ever heard a session with Josh in it?
Ugh, I don't know. Oh God.
Sorry, I should probably have not mentioned that.
No, no, no. It's okay. It's totally fine.
How are you
Dishes are
setting up the
done.
rest? What? Oh, okay. I was just checking to see how you're setting up the rest of your day.
Oh yeah. I have a whole list of things that I've written down for myself. Um, I have to see what the kids want to do. Damien might get picked up early because his dad is on night shifts now. Um, I have to definitely go grocery shopping. I don't know if I should cook feijoada. It's this Brazilian dish. It should last several days too. done in the pressure cooker. It takes about an hour to chop everything up. Yeah, but it's like comprised of, three different types of meat and um, black beans. We chop up some onion and garlic, of course, to give it flavor, but it's really seasoned with chorizo. Um, what is it? Chorizo and like two different types of pork. So it's hard to describe, but I'll probably send you a picture. Yeah, I'll send you a picture of it. Not
You
when I'm
know,
done making it, but
on a totally different level, at my level, I found some miso marinated black cod at Costco. So I thought I was going to give that a try. I have that in my fridge right now as we speak. I was going to try some of that later today. But yes,
oh, tell me.
I would love to particularly sample some of that final product.
Let me see if I can find it. Feijoada. Um,
Be
yeah,
awesome if
it's
you could
a
like freeze dry it and send it overnight.
it says it's a rich, hearty stew of black beans and various meats that's considered the national dish of Brazil. And
Hey,
I
that
have
would
to
probably
say,
ship pretty well.
I have to say that I have made feijoada for an actual Brazilian party before,
Yes,
and the
yes.
Brazilians have tasted it and said that it's, they're all, oh, whoever made this, it's good.
Knows what they're doing. It's authentic, right?
Yeah, yeah. So it's
I don't
let's see,
I don't think I've ever had that.
feijoada. Yeah, they call it Brazilian black bean stew, and I usually cook it in a pressure cooker.
Hmm. You know, I have a pressure cooker, but I've only made one thing. And it's super simple. It's a chicken dish, but I gotta expand my set of recipes for my pressure cooker. That might
Yeah,
be a
try this
thing.
one out.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll give you
Yeah.
the recipe.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, yeah, I'm looking at some of the recipes right now. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. We'll probably visit um my dad again, especially if my
Yeah.
sister is coming.
Yeah.
You know, because my brother wants us to all visit, and it would be nice if both the kids were here too. So
Oh, I know it's past 10, but I just wanted to briefly mention I spent 90 minutes with a guy that really wants to rent the 5 acre place yesterday.
oh yeah,
And he was so
how did that
serious,
go?
you know, like 2 hours later, he brought his wife and the high school kid's son to come see the property. And, you know, Aaron and his wife Michelle were both saying, "Whoa, this is perfect. This is perfect." So it sounds like they like it. So now we have to move on to seeing how the overall arrangement can work.
Yeah,
So it might be doable. So
there
it's
you
not done yet,
go.
but at least I've got a pretty serious nibble right now.
Yeah, that's great.
Hmm. Yeah, he's saying he could do something as early as, 3 to 4 weeks. So that's almost perfect timing if I can make it happen on my end.
Wow, 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
That's just around the
He's
corner.
he's got a place up on the north end of the island. So he's already been here for 6 years. He grew up in this area, and a lot of it was on the island. And so he likes the fact that it's, this remote, and that doesn't bother him at all. And he loves the property. He says it's very similar to his existing house, which has almost no property. And the layout's very similar. It's just that my place has one extra bedroom and that,
Perfect.
extra bonus room. Yeah. So it does sound like they're serious, and they all spent like 20 minutes looking at the place, and I didn't hear anything negative being muttered by any of them. So probably they weren't going to do that in front of
Nice.
me, but still, it was pretty positive.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Nothing's done until it's done.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
So there's still time for you, Kayla. Is what I'm
I-
saying.
Ah,
In fact, you said your sister wanted to come up with you one time to check it out, so it's not too late to do that either.
yeah, I know. Um, the only time we would have to do that would be the last week of October. In fact, I've got to look up to see if both Damien and Max have, um, spring break, if they have the same week for spring break, because Damien was now telling me that he and his girlfriend were thinking of meeting up in Colorado for spring break too. And so Damien and I were talking about having a road trip to Colorado. And my
Oh.
friend Addie said that she would be down to do that as well. And so I guess
Hmm.
Damien's girlfriend likes to travel too. And so she said that she might want to come with us as well. So if that's the
Hmm.
case, then we'd have a really packed forerunner. I'd have
Hmm.
the five kids and the two dogs, but it would be fun because you know there'd be plenty of people to hang out with.
That's right. That's right.
Um,
But on the other hand, coming up here is not going to be that big a deal because, the flight's only like 2 or 3 hours, and you don't need to have to
yeah,
stay multiple days. All you got to do is just come up. It's like half an hour or an hour just to check out the property. And then it's
yeah,
whatever else you
totally.
want to do while you're up here. So it can be done very quickly.
Yeah,
And if your sister, wants to like invest with you, it sounds like you two get along, then maybe you got some options there. But I'm just saying, we got a few weeks to work with here, if you're still
uh,
interested.
you're funny.
Yeah,
I will definitely keep that in mind.
mention it to your sister when you see her today. I
Yeah.
mean, obviously, I'd like to, in a sense, keep it to the larger family. This guy, yeah, he seems very friendly, but he's not yet a really known entity. So if you're interested, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Yes. Still keeping that in the horizon.
Mhm.
So I'll let you know if I get, if my budget starts looking good. So
Okay.
let's hope that we get that fatherhood grant,
Mm.
and that I transition to something that gives me a little bit more in terms of money.
Yeah, like
Um,
deputy director,
whether
you
it,
know.
yeah, whether it's deputy director or um, or a different place, because
Yep.
I got to start looking out for myself too. So
Do it.
yeah.
All right, Kayla. It was
Okay.
good. I think it was good to actually, reconnect with Jack. I'm glad to see him today. So that was
Yeah.
a little bit different, and he had some perspective on some things that we had done together in the past.
Yeah, that was fun listening to you guys talk about Doug Engelbark and Tanaka. Or
Yeah,
Tanaka.
Tanaka-san and Jerry Mikowski as well. Yeah, there's some
Yeah,
cool
nice.
people in that group. So yeah, we should uh, intermingle these groups a little bit more, but for a future opportunity.
Yeah,
Hey,
sounds like
Kayla,
a
say hi
plan.
to your dad, say hi to your sister, say hi to the number one son and number two son, and
For
hope everything
sure.
all goes well
They
today.
remember you.
And your mom. Yeah, you asked Damien if he remembered me. I thought for sure he would probably remember, but hopefully it was not too negative.
Well, no, he knows. I think, you know, my kids, not only did they meet you, and one of them met you twice, but,
Hmm.
they know that I've been talking to the GCC for as long as the pandemic started.
Do they
So
think
it's
it's
nice.
weird that you
I'm
talk to
glad.
me so much?
No, I don't think so. I
Okay.
think they're happy that I have friends. So I don't think they see enough of my friends, so they're happy when they do. Especially like constant friends.
Mhm.
I only have like one friend that I constantly hang out with. And so, and just a few friends, you're one of them that I constantly talk to.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
All right, Kayla. Have a great week,
Okay.
and we'll see what happens in the next 168 hours, which I don't know. So many thoughts in my head right now about what's going on.
Uh,
But yeah, definitely say hi to your
Understood.
dad, say hi to your family.
Sounds good. Okay.
Okay, talk to you later. Bye
All
bye.
right. Bye.